Hey everyone, and welcome to the ACE, the Atomic Cinema Experiment, or sci-fi movie podcast. I am Peter, and that over there is Tara.
Greetings.
And my cat Firefly is picking right now, right as we start, to start pestering me. But hey, we talk about sci-fi movies, and on this episode, we actually are looking at a newer film, the complete opposite of last week's movie, which was The Day the Earth Stood Still. This week, we are looking at BumbleBee.
Still a robot.
Still a robot, yes. Several robots, in fact, in this case, transforming robots. And I had wanted to see this. I was kind of excited because I'd heard good things. I liked the trailers, even though the previous 5 Transformer movies started off as only okay and then just kind of went into the pits of hell as they went along.
Yeah, my experience is I really did enjoy the first one when it came out because I hadn't really been subjected to so much Michael Bay yet. And I remember that like opening scene with the helo and like taking out all the people on that base was really awesome. And then I went and saw the second one, and it was so bad and so weirdly racist and childish, and I couldn't understand what was going on, who was fighting who, that I kind of just left the movie theater with a big headache, and I hated the first one after I saw the second one because it was so bad, and I hadn't seen any others.
Do you know what I think it is? I think the first one almost got by because it was like the effects were so good, they looked amazing.
Right.
And I think the music was pretty good. I think that was the one thing that was good about the movies, is the scores were pretty good. But
yeah, and the sound design gets brought up a lot, and it's true. It is a cool sound effect. But
it got kind of by just in the novelty of it existing, right? And like they had Peter Cullen, who does the Optimus Prime voice. Like they had him do the Optimus Prime. It was, and then 2 was like here's really what these films really are, and it kind of like pointed at the flaws of the first one. Although 2 is definitely much worse. And then I saw 3, which was a little bit better than 2, but I mean, not saying much.
Is that the one with the dinosaur?
No, that's 4, which I also saw, unfortunately.
Okay.
And that was a painful experience. I never saw 5, even though, like, because at that point I know what these are. I'm not going to do it again. Even though one of the trailers for 5, the last night, I actually thought was pretty good, but I knew the movie wasn't going to deliver what that trailer gave me, which is that this young girl kind of befriends the Autobots and kind of becomes like a main character. And I was like, okay, I like the idea of that, which amusingly is kind of what Bumblebee is, although Haley Steinfeld's a bit older than that kid. But 4 was the one where it's Mark Wahlberg and his teenage daughter's boyfriend.
I think I know where you're going because I think I've heard about this.
Yes, so he's older than she is.
Explaining why it's okay to have sex with an underage woman.
Yes, it's the Romeo and Juliet clause. Because they were dating before he turned 18, it's okay. And I don't even necessarily hate that logic. The problem is he whips out this rule on a laminated card that he keeps in his wallet.
Ooh, that's suspicious.
Like let's say 2 17-year-olds are dating, and one's obviously going to turn 18 first. Like, I'm not going to look at them and go, oh, that's super wrong. He's 18, 3 months before she is. Like, whatever. But laminated card, and shows this to her dad. He whips it out and shows it to her dad.
And do the lines sound very practiced, like he's done this before?
Yes. So that and the rest of the movie was just boring. But that scene stuck out to me as just being like peak Michael Bay stupidity and offensiveness. That I'm just like, you know what, I don't need any more of this. And then Bumblebee exists, and Bumblebee is not by Michael Bay. It's the first Transformers movie not directed by Michael Bay, and it's set in the 80s. It's Haley Steinfeld, who I quite like. And it seems to be more of an 80s movie, not just in the fact that it's set in the 80s, but in the sense that it's kind of kind of an ET story. It's the alien robot befriends teenage girl, and
yeah, there's a lot of parallels to ET. enough to the point where it was a bit distracting. Like, I think I've seen this movie before.
Yeah, so we'll start spoiler free anyway. We'll give you a warning in the middle before we get into spoilers. But yeah, so yeah, Bumblebee is this Cybertron wars raging, and Bumblebee's sent to Earth because Optimus thinks Earth might be a good place to hide out once Cybertron's gone. And Bumblebee comes down, he gets injured in a fight with Starscream, and then ultimately ends up kind of injured, but he gets picked up by Haley Steinfeld's character, Charlie, and they form a friendship, and of course there's other Decepticons who show up hunting them, and they kind of end up loosely working with John Cena, who's like this evil, well, he's not evil.
Cartoon.
He's Agent Burns. He's kind of like this gruff, military dude, but you get the sense that by the end he's probably going to be okay, but like for the first most of the movie, first 2/3, 3/4, he's going to be like, these alien scum, we're going to have to kill them all, this. Because literally Bumblebee lands and the first thing they do is start shooting at him. It's like just open fire. I'm not saying it's not believable. I'm just saying,
Yeah, they're clearly setting up to be like maybe not the villains, but like the main obstacle in order for Bumblebee to be able to have a life there. I did want to say that I liked the opening with all the Cybertron stuff. Because right away it tells you this isn't Michael Bay's film, because you could tell that the robots are different, that they look different from each other, and you could see who's fighting who, and how the fighting scenes don't just look like two meshes of metal garbage flying around. It right away tells you that you're watching a movie that you can tolerate.
Absolutely, that's true throughout the film. Whenever there's two Transformers fighting, you can actually follow the fight. Like, it's hand-to-hand combat with giant robots, but you can follow it. You can see them blocking and dodging. You can understand the sequence.
It looks like they used like a mocap for it, like with just actual fighters. It looked like people fighting. I thought that was really well done, and the colors are a lot brighter. So, you can kind of tell who's fighting because everybody's primary colored.
It's brighter, it's bolder, and then on top of that, if you're a Transformers fan, and I wouldn't say I am necessarily, although I still prefer these designs to the movie designs from the previous movies.
I have zero connection to the cartoons,
but this is more based on the cartoon designs. This is more the G1, like Optimus and Bumblebee, and the fact that he's a little beetle, like that's from the cartoon.
Okay,
but
I like the face mask that comes down. It's a cool design.
Yeah. So I mean, you like that about it, but I mean, I'm going to ask the question now. Did you enjoy Bumblebee?
I'm kind of neutral on it. Like, I don't think it's a bad movie, but it's definitely not a movie for me. I'm not the audience.
Why is it not for you? Is it because you don't like Transformers, or is it because you don't like this type of befriending an alien kind of movie?
Well, as far as befriending an alien movie goes, I do love E.T. I think E.T. is a fantastic film. It's also had a lot of like Herbie the Love Bug, which is a movie that I enjoyed a lot of growing up. I think the movie is just a little bit too silly for me still. And a lot of the action, by the end, there was just so much action upon action that I did kind of get a little bored of it.
That's fair. I never saw Herbie, although I'm familiar with the concept. Honestly, it's funny, you compare it to E.T., but I was getting way more like Iron Giant vibes. And not just because it's metal, but because...
Okay, well, I have a confession to make. I've never seen the Iron Giant, which I know I've been dreading saying that, but I know it's on our list, so it's going to come up eventually.
The show's cancelled. Tower's fired. Thanks for your support, guys. Iron Giant's so good.
I know, I've been hearing that for a long time.
See if you come out of the Iron Giant and say, "Oh, it's too like ET." I'm going to be upset.
What if I say it's too Bumblebee?
I'll be even more upset.
Okay. Well, did you like it?
I would say no, I did. I didn't love it. I don't think it's a great movie. I think it's a solid movie. I think it's easily the best Transformers movie. Like easily.
Yeah.
because I could follow the fights. I liked Charlie. I thought she was a very likable character. Her whole plot, her whole like her dad was died before the start of the movie, and she's struggling to deal with that. Her entire thing felt like an 80s movie plot. Like this is what the main character's like struggling with.
You mean because they set up the whole like diving thing, and then I can't talk about it yet.
Yes, no spoilers.
Behind the spoilers.
Around spoilers. You've said too much. There's diving. You've said too much.
Well, they set that up early.
They do. And soundtrack's really good. There's a lot of 80s music. Music plays a big theme in this because Bumblebee used, because if you know from the previous movies, he uses the radio to like talk. So they kind of like gradually build to that in this.
Not a whole lot of score though. Like I noticed a lot of scenes where I thought they could really use some score here, and it was just kind of silent.
Yeah, and I agree. The music wasn't as good as the soundtrack was good, but the score wasn't as good as the main movies. I mean, I never saw the fifth one, so I assume that had the similar kind of score. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the scores in the other movies aren't amazing. They're kind of like the composer whose name I can't remember is clearly trying to be Hans Zimmer, but I'll take knockoff Hans Zimmer quite happily. I'm not going to complain.
I agree. I mean, if you're going to take from the best.
Yeah. But so no, I like the music. I like the characters for the most part. I like Charlie a lot, is what I'm saying, and then the love interest.
Charlie is great.
Mimo, his name is. I thought they had a nice awkward chemistry that kind of worked.
I didn't like.
Yeah, like him? No.
I didn't like his character. Like I think you could make the same movie without him, and it would have been fine.
That's fair. He oddly didn't really factor into the third act that much. I'll give you that. It was kind of weird how he was just kind of gone.
Yeah, he seemed like a very unneeded character to tell the story. But he doesn't really do a whole lot for even Haley Steinfeld's character. Like, not a whole lot has changed. Like, I don't understand why he was in it at all.
I can argue with it because if you take him out, nothing really changes that much. It's not like she has this touching romance with him or anything like that.
No, not really.
Cena's okay as Agent Burns. He's got charisma. He's I actually just one of the lines that I love here is so the Decepticons basically try and trick the American government, the military, into working with them, and I love that John Cena pointed out they're called Decepticons. Does that
That's not a red flag?
Like, I am so glad someone said that.
He had two really great lines. I thought, like, two moments that made me bust out laughing. And I actually didn't think that he was that great in the movie. I thought everybody except for the main character was actually kind of a cartoon. And John Cena, even though I really do like John Cena, I think he's really great. He's really funny in the films that he's in, even in this one too.
I think I actually agree that they are all kind of two-dimensional, but I just don't mind that, I guess, that much, because I guess it fits kind of the archetype of the movie they're trying to make. I don't think. But
Haley Steinfeld's in a movie that's different than all the rest of them, like, because she's given it, like, she's putting all of her acting skills in it, and she's great. Like, she's
the best.
She's
part.
the reason to watch the movie.
Yeah, there's no doubt she's the best part of the movie. And I think the reason why, like, I mostly enjoy this is because I typically really get into these types of stories where it's like the kid or whatever, like, has the robot friend, and everyone else thinks it's a threat, but the kid knows it's this real, like, this is a person. The robot has feelings, or the alien has feelings, or the monster has feelings. It's Pete's Dragon, it's Iron Giant, it's whatever. It's all these things. I love that kind of trope, I guess, because I think it speaks to me in a way that this idea that, like, humanity isn't really about being human. Like, it's about more than that, and that really speaks to me as a storytelling mechanic.
Yeah, I mean, it's a trope that's used in Star Trek all the time. We look at alien races in order to analyze our own. Ding.
That was such a broad way to get to Star Trek. That was weak sauce. I'll respect a good segue to Star Trek. I will. When you pull a good one off, I'll respect it. But that was weak sauce.
Okay. I mean, I'd say that this story was done better with Data. 7 seasons of Data. How about that?
Was the military hunting down Data though? And like you were like,
There is an episode about that
okay,
you haven't come up to yet.
okay, and Picard was like, no, leave him alone. He's a robot.
You are describing Measure of a Man. And it's a fantastic episode.
No, no, I liked it. I didn't love it. I thought it was good, but not great. And I think because I appreciated that it was trying to do the 80s tropes. It was trying to feel like an 80s movie, and I enjoyed those elements to it because I like those types of movies. I will say though,
I didn't think it was very successful though.
well,
At
that's what I was going to say. That it didn't necessarily achieve it. It didn't achieve the authenticity that I think something like Stranger Things or even something like Turbo Kid did, where it's trying really hard, and I'm getting like elements of it, but it doesn't necessarily feel like it's genuinely of that time. It's almost like it's kind of the same thing that Captain Marvel did with the 90s, where it just kind of relied on the music soundtrack to remind you that it was the 90s the whole time, and in this case, it's the 80s the whole time.
Right, right. Well, Captain Marvel had the whole blockbuster scene, and then after that, it was like no mention of 90s.
Yeah, which is fine because with Captain Marvel, like it just had to be set in the past. It just happened to be the 90s because it was like set before the other movies. It wasn't like, oh, this whole the 90s is integral to the plot of this movie. You know, it's just that just happens to be when it needs to be set because it's before the others.
Yeah.
It's the same thing here. It's only in the 80s because, well, it has to be before all the other movies, and you know, we might as well make it more of a period because let's say they set it like, because the first Transformers came out in 2007. If they'd set this in 2003, it'd be like, well, this is kind of weird. It's just like slightly before. And
it's not enough to be nostalgic for either.
Yeah.
So you would have to go back further just so people can have a connection to it.
Yeah.
I mean, what's 2003? Smash Mouth? Like, I don't know what 2003 would be.
Somebody once told me the world was.
Yeah, nobody wants to watch a movie with that soundtrack. So, sorry, Shrek.
Excuse me, that was originally in Mystery Men, and I do want to watch Mystery Men. I will have you know.
Is that on our list? Is science fiction enough?
It's set in the future.
All right.
And
it's been a while since I've seen it.
I don't know if I'd count it as sci-fi though, because I'd say it's more a superhero thing. And typically superheroes, I just even though technically Superman's an alien, I don't really count Superman as science fiction, even though there's a lot of sci-fi in it.
I think I would agree with that.
You know,
it's fine. You can keep it for your other channels.
It's a superhero. Other channels? How many channels do you think we have?
Other shows. Excuse me. Podcast channels.
I have to. You know, Tower's a rookie. I have to.
I'm
point
still learning. Okay.
Yeah.
I need you to hold my hand.
Oh. So. Yeah, action's pretty good. I kind of like the like, you know, when the plot gets going and the big, you know, climax, the third act. One of the things that I appreciated about it is that it wasn't like that big. It was actually a relatively small thing. It was just we have to stop the two Decepticons from doing something. That is it. And it wasn't like the Decepticons were trying to like destroy the world or set off a nuke, or it was really sort of simple goal. Just do this, and that's how you save the day, and that's fine. And I appreciate.
Are we getting into spoilers or
not yet? I would. That was fairly spoiler free. At least I think.
Yeah, I kind of had that. I don't know. I was a bit checked out at the end. I agree. I'm glad it wasn't like a planet ending. Well, I guess it sort of was if the Decepticons are successful, but you're right. It is better, but I still had that like Aquaman feeling of there's just so much action that I just kind of tune out.
I can see that. I mean, I don't think it's as bad as something like Aquaman, because Aquaman literally has two armies fighting in the third act, where I'm like, that's an extreme example, because that one had so much action that my brain couldn't process it, and it actually put me to sleep. So yeah, I never quite got to that with this. I felt like this was a bit more pared down compared to you know, other Transformers movies or whatever else.
If I'm comparing this to another Transformer film, this is like a 10 out of 10. So,
but yeah, I think we'll get into spoilers now. Then we'll talk about spoilers. You know, for what there is. I don't know if there's like a ton of stuff that I feel like we need to spoil in terms of like where the plot goes.
No, not really.
I do want to talk a little bit about there's like a scientist dude that comes with John Cena when they're like, because they get like a hint that there's been more robots landed, and it's like a mildly amusing scene where this guy's like, obsessed with his car, and like he's like, don't hit my car please, and then the second one comes and crushes his car. Although I'll be honest, the funnier part of this scene is when the Transformer just vaporizes him and he just like he just pops like he's a balloon.
Yeah.
That I enjoyed.
He even says, "I like the way they pop."
Yeah.
Like, ooh, that's
I'm
terrifying.
Yeah, well, he does.
It was a good effect though. I really like that as well because I wasn't expecting like something like a bucket of wet goo to basically be what the person is.
It was basically like how you do like a really like violent exploding gory death but on a PG. You just make it a goo, like a colored goo, green goo, and that's it. There you go. But so they come and meet them, and there's a scientist who comes with them who is like determined to like work with them and study them. There's a scene like after they've like agreed to work with them, there's a scene where he's in the lab and he's like talking about like looking at their parts and their energy, and he's like, he sounds like he's going to have an orgasm when he's talking about them. He's like so enthusiastic that it was really putting me off. You were talking about caricatures. This guy was a caricature of a character.
Yeah, I actually thought, at the beginning that we were moving away from that type of Michael Bay style where because in all of his Transformers films, the human characters are just awful, awful people. They're all like super caricatures, and his parents especially, I remember in the second one, were just unbearable.
Oh yeah.
I thought, with the characters that we were meeting in this movie, it was a lot better. I especially like the characters who were the older men who were running the shop. Like they were really funny. They seemed like real people also and not caricatures. But then as the movie was going, like we started to get more of those people who were just sort of cartoons.
Yeah, the military, maybe the bully as well. The girl who had the license plate saying "You wish," which I'm not going to lie, I did chuckle when it said that. when I noticed it said "You wish." It was almost like she just got that so that anyone who's like remotely jealous and then catches the license plate, it's like, damn it.
Yeah, well, this was sort of their failed attempt to be like an 80s movie also.
Kind of, yeah.
This was because I think they were just there to remind you that we were in the 80s. Because, Charlie doesn't really dress like how you imagine the 80s is, but all of these popular girls do. And they have the whole contest thing where they're trying to do something brave, and then the girl who needs to prove herself is going to be the hero. Of course she chickens out, but that's going to come back, and it does. And I was wondering, how are they going to put diving into the main storyline for saving the day? And I still don't really understand how it worked. She kind of just dove in to save Bumblebee, but all she did was just dive in there and say hello, and then he was saved.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes. The other thing about the diving thing was it was the sort of the honky guy that she was kind of eyeing up at the start who was saying, hey, you should jump in as well. And nothing ever really came of him. He was just kind of like dropped from the movie after that point.
Yeah.
And then the bully said is really nasty. She makes fun of her for her dad dying. And this gives us a reason for our character basically exists so that we can have some bonding with Charlie and Bumblebee and Mimo, where they they go to the house and try and egg it, and Bumblebee ends up crushing the car, and it's a fun sequence.
Yeah, that was fun. I did enjoy it because it was just really cute. It was a cute scene.
Yeah, I mean, again, I feel like nothing in this movie is really setting your world on fire, and that's kind of okay. It's just kind of like a solid, adventure for us.
It was a fine movie. Like, it just, I don't think I'm the audience for it. I have no attachment to Transformers.
Yeah.
I think kids would probably really like it, and it's a natural movie that doesn't have like dirty jokes in it, so it's still good for kids, and I'm sure they really like it. Or people who are fans of the cartoon or used to be fans of the cartoon are going to be happy to see something that was a lot closer to what they remember. As it's a movie that I didn't mind sitting through, but it's not a movie I'll ever watch again.
Yeah, that's fair. I could maybe watch it again. I don't know. Like, I'm not in any rush, but like, like I could. Yeah, like we have John Cena's character who, you know, Bumblebee saves him at one point because, you know, he's in a helicopter and the Decepticons, you know, smash the helicopter and it's going diving for death, and Bumblebee like jumps in and grabs it, and because of this, John Cena knows that he can trust him now. He's a fellow soldier, and it ends with him giving him this salute, which is it's a fun moment because Bumblebee
So dumb.
instead of saluting does the end of Breakfast Club because he's been watching Breakfast Club over and over again.
It was such a dumb scene. I don't know what it is. Like it's like Haley Steinfeld is so good, and like every line she says just sounds natural. And then John Cena is just this cartoon of a military officer, and it's like they're in two different movies.
He's a cartoon. He's an entertaining cartoon, though.
I will say, yeah, like my favorite lines are the ones that he has that really got me laughing.
What was the other one?
The one that you brought up earlier,
Yeah.
and then the one with like the Steve Carell, or not Steve Carell, stepdad.
Oh, I know what this is because I laughed at
And
this.
he was saying something like he admitted to stealing something
when he was
when he was younger,
yeah.
and then John Cena's like, "We know."
That did make me
That
laugh.
did get me. That was really funny. but again, it's a really funny scene, but it doesn't feel like, I don't know. The movie just kind of seems like a mess to me. They can't get the tone quite right.
Okay, that's fair.
It just seems like too many different movies in one.
I know a lot of people were excited because the director, Travis Knight, who did Kubo and the Two Strings, was directing this, which is a big difference.
I didn't see that, but I heard it was incredible.
Yeah,
it's on my list to see it.
I never saw it either, but people were really excited because it was him. I mean, I wouldn't say it was a mess. Like I think it's a very solid movie for what it is. Like I think it's very like. I feel like you're going to regret these words and deeds because we're going to see some really bad movies at some point on this show. Actually, it's funny that it only took one movie for you to be less positive than me because I feel like I was expecting you to be more positive in just about every scenario.
Yeah, I mean, some movies just aren't made for me. It's all right.
That's fine. No, whatever. Yeah.
I do really like Haley Steinfeld. She grew up in Thousand Oaks, where I'm from, so that's cool.
Oh, the actress is from
my hometown girl. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like Haley Steinfeld's been like playing teenagers for a long time.
Oh my God. Did you see Edge of 17? It was a great movie.
I actually haven't. I like the trailer. It looked good.
It's great. She deserved an Oscar nomination for that, but didn't get it.
Damn.
Watch it. Great Woody Harrelson as well.
I think I saw her first time in Ender's Game, believe it or not.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. I read the book and I really liked it, so I thought I wouldn't see the movie so it wouldn't ruin it. Because I heard it was terrible.
Yeah, I saw her in the Pitch Perfects, and
I don't watch those movies.
Oh, Barely Lethal's great. That's a movie that like didn't get good reviews and no one knows about, but I actually think it's fantastic.
Barely Lethal?
Yeah, she plays like a girl who's trained and brought up to be a super spy, but she like escapes and goes to high school. So she's trying to integrate with like regular teenagers, but she's like a total badass if shit goes down. Sophie Turner's in it as well.
Okay.
Jessica Alba's the villain.
Interesting. Haven't seen her in very much lately.
Yeah, she's in the new Bad Boys spin-off that's coming out soon.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, else was
Good for her.
Samuel L. Jackson was in it. That's right.
Well, I like her from True Grit, so she's the things that I've seen her in.
Yeah.
She's been great. She's solid.
I liked her in True Grit. See, I like Barely Lethal a lot. People shit on it, but I think it's a fun movie.
Well, you've got me intrigued. I'll try to catch it.
Yeah, True Grit's great though. True Grit is great. Yeah. No, she has the best part of the movie. I mean, to swing back around. It's funny that we went from like Day of the Earth to Still, where there's all these like messages to talk about, and then we go to this movie where there is no messages. There's nothing to really talk about.
No, I thought there would be. I thought this would be like a coming of age story, and the whole thing with their father, and then the diving stuff. but it kind of falls flat for me. Like any kind of message they were going to start.
I mean, yeah, it's just, I mean, ultimately her arc of the film is that she learns to actually appreciate the film she has. She doesn't go with Bumblebee because she realizes that, you know, her stepdad, her mum, her brother need her. And she's been kind of like ignoring them, you know, as they point out at the start of the film, she's kind of always moody looking and doesn't want to really interact with them. That said, though, I mean, Ron is a bit of a dick with the birthday present. He gives her a book on how to smile.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a dick move.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
All I could
it's
think...
the same joke that was in Captain Marvel. And, you know, when that guy said it in Captain Marvel, my whole theater groaned. Yeah. I sort of had the same response to this book.
Yeah, I guess you could say though, because this is set in the 80s, this is like long before someone like him might have been self-aware of this. This is, he genuinely thinks he's helping, like people who.
I think the 80s were a time of a lot of self-help books too. I'm sure he was thought he was doing the right thing.
Yeah. You know, that's what it is. So I mean, I guess what I'm saying is here, this film is nowhere near as deep. I think it's solid and fun, if nothing exceptional, but it does mean that this is a much shorter episode than the first episode. So just you know,
I'm glad we watched it. You know.
No, I'm glad I saw it. I'm glad I got out of the way. I originally hoped to see it before we did our like top 10s of 2018, but I mean, having now seen it, it wouldn't have made my top 10. So I mean, in the end, it didn't really matter. But yeah. So Bumblebee.
Yep. You want to rate it?
We should rate it. What are you rating it?
Well, like I said, I think this movie is trying to do a lot more than it delivers on. It has a really good look to it. I did actually, you know, feel something for the robots, unlike the other Transformer movies. And Haley Steinfeld is great.
Because it has that thing where, you know, Bumblebee gets captured, at the end of Act 2, and she has to make the proactive choice to try and go save him, even though she's going up against the military. You know, she's an 18-year-old going up against the military. But so yeah, what are you rating it?
So, but even though there's a lot of good in it, there's still just some glaring flaws that just take me out of the movie, and a lot of it just has to do with the acting and just the choices that were made for the script. So I don't think I'll watch it again, but it wasn't a horrible watch. I'm going to give it a 6.
That's fair. So, you know, it's decent, good.
I understand there's an audience for this, but it's not me.
I am going to go a little bit higher. I'm going to say 7 out of 10, which I would classify as good, not great, but perfectly enjoyable. Like I had no problem sitting through this, and enough time passes, I probably could watch it again. So, you know, I would say it's head and shoulders above the rest of the Transformers movies. So if you've been waiting for one that's not torture to watch, and you care about, I think if you care about these characters, you're probably super into this. You're probably like, yeah, this is like what I've been waiting for my whole life. Like, if I was waiting on a good Turtles movie, that's probably how I'd feel if I finally got one. Luckily, the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was actually fantastic and perfect, and I don't have to be upset that some of the newer ones.
I have seen it, but it's been a long time. So.
Oh, so good.
My brother's a Turtles guy, so we had a lot of turtles in the house.
I get so emotional during that movie. So emotional.
The Ooze is the second one, right?
Oh yeah, that's the one with Vanilla Ice.
Not just Vanilla Ice, but Sam Rockwell's in it.
He's in the first one.
Oh, okay, never mind. I thought it was the second one.
Young Sam Rockwell's in the first one. Second one has Vanilla Ice. It also has Tokar and Razor, and the Super Shredder.
It's been a long time. I don't remember. Should we add them to our list? Are they sci-fi?
Not really. One is genuinely great, I think. Secret of the Ooze is not a good movie, but it's fun as a kid's movie, and I have a lot of nostalgia for it. And then Turtles 3 is just pretty bad, and there's no real saving it.
I think I remember like the costumes somehow getting progressively worse with each film as they came out.
I don't know if they were worse than 2. I think 2 might have been the same as 1, but 3 was definitely a big step down. Like they lowered the budgets. Like,
Why not just use the same costumes?
Oh,
Do they not have them anymore?
different actors inside the suits, they couldn't fit.
All right.
Don't know, just a guess. maybe someone stole them, and that's why the new ones are cheap.
That does happen in Hollywood. Yeah.
Someone stole the Turtles outfits, just casually walking out of the warehouse with these 4 turtle outfits.
Yeah, I bet they could start a really cool band.
Yeah, I remember actually. It's way back when I was in high school. I remember hearing a story that someone like stole a computer, right? And it was like a big chunky like eMac at the time, and I thought, who was just casually walking out of the building holding an eMac? Is that, and no one like questioned them? I guess if you're confident enough to just assume you're supposed to be doing it.
Yep. Oh, it must be the eMac maintenance guy.
Yeah, the repairman. He's here. He's just taking it away to work on it. That's all that is. I was like, whoa. Anyway, that has been Bumblebee, which got a 6 and a 7, which if we're doing averages at the end, that's a 6.5 on the experiment.
I'm okay with that rating. Yeah.
So there you go. That's Bumblebee. So I mean, you did say to me after we recorded the first episode that you would like us to tell them what their next movie is going to be, and I'm okay with that. I'm a little concerned that eventually we might want to switch things around after we've recorded some of them.
Okay.
But we can tell them if you want to tell them the next movie.
I don't have the list up. Do you know what it is?
Oh, I can tell you. It's Altered States. We're doing Altered States next week.
Oh, fun.
There you go.
I haven't seen that movie in a long time. I'm excited to see if it's as good as I remember.
I have never seen the movie, so it is a complete maiden voyage for me. So we'll see how it goes, but that's coming up next. As for outroing the show here, you can of course let us know what you think of Bumblebee in the comments. You can like and subscribe, and you can support us that way. You can support us financially over at patreon.com for as little as $1, and you can get bonus episodes of certain things, including this show. Starting in May, there'll be a bonus episode exclusive to Patreon every month for $1 for the $1 tier, along with a bonus episode of Screams After Midnight, or horror movie podcast that I do with Tim. So by all means, please go have a look and see if you're willing to, get some exclusives and support us and feel warm and fuzzy in the inside. Otherwise, you can get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates, and you can check out some merchandise at the stores. There's a US and a UK store. There's links in the description to both of those. But otherwise, that is us. Tara, would you like to promote anything else that we do on the channel?
Watch the Star Trek reviews. They're awesome. I always promote the same thing.
You did. You promoted that last time. I was hoping that...
Okay, so instead of watching the old Star Treks, watch Star Trek Discovery reviews. It's its own show.
I thought you were going to promote our Twilight Zone reviews since you're on those.
Yeah, but then they'll have to watch me. I don't know if they want to do that.
If they've made it this far in this episode, they're clearly on board.
All right, watch me do the Twilight Zone reviews. It's a nice look back at how terrible I am. How far I've come.
Well, it depends what episode they watch. If they watch like a recent one, it might be, you in your current prime Tara mode.
Okay, yeah.
I like the idea that someone's watching this and they heard me say that and they went, "Wait, this is the good version of Tara? What was the bad version like? What was the novice Tara like?"
Yep, enjoy. Sometimes I like to go back and watch them just to see how far I've come. Even though it's been like 5 weeks.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. I just like to watch myself.
That sounds worse than the previous thing you said.
Well, I'm trying to be honest. People have been watching this review for this long, even though we stopped talking about the movie a long time ago. They deserve honesty.
Okay. Is there anything I'd like to be honest about?
Now's the time. Peter, the floor is yours.
I think these reviews would be much better if Tara was cosplaying as Ripley the whole time, because she's got the hair for it.
I do.
That's my honesty.
I'll make a note of it.
You get that blue jumpsuit from Alien.
Once we review Alien.
Someday.
I'll have it.
That
I'm
has
like a
been-
doll.
That has been test subject number 2 on the Atomic Cinema Experiment. So thank you very much for watching once again. We always appreciate it. Keep watching sci-fi movies. Computer, add salsa.